What if trash bottles could light up your entire garden? In this video, I'll show you 14 plus powerful ideas to turn waste into glowing totems, art you can actually make. Welcome to Mind Over Decoration. Here, we don't buy beauty. We build it with what we already have. Use the timestamps, comment if you're curious, and if this inspires you, start now. Don't wait for perfect. Create with what you've got. I might be just another voice on your screen. But behind these ideas is a real home, a real family. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, helps more than you know. It keeps this dream going. It keeps this voice heard. So if you're still watching, thank you for being here. And if you hit subscribe, thank you for believing in what I do. You might think these bottles are meant for the bin. But when dusk settles, and the first shadows stretch across your backyard, they begin to glow. This isn't just lighting. It's a quiet kind of art, made from what we usually throw away. Each recycled bottle here is carefully filled or painted with glow-in-the-dark pigment, then sealed and planted upright into the soil. What was once disposable now lines the edges of a tiny oasis, a border that feels alive at night. In one corner, sunflowers stand tall above marigolds, their colors glowing richer under the green and blue light. In another, soft yellow bottles circle a bed of mint and thyme, offering not just structure, but rhythm. And on a long garden path, hundreds of glowing steps gently guide your way through the dark. No wires, no noise, just light and silence. These aren't just garden borders. They're a reminder that beauty doesn't have to be expensive. That light can come from the simplest forms, from bottles, from paint, from a little patience. If you want to try this yourself, it's easier than it looks. Collect bottles of similar height. Paint the inside or outside with glow powder or glow-in-the-dark acrylic paint. Green and blue tend to shine the longest. Then seal them with a clear waterproof coat. For best results, place them where they'll catch sun during the day, and watch them come alive at night. What you're building isn't just decoration. It's a path, a quiet frame, a border between ordinary and extraordinary. So before you throw out that bottle, pause. You might just be holding the next soft lantern for your garden. As daylight fades, something unexpected begins to appear beneath your feet. Not just a path, but a soft trail of light, handmade, from bottles you almost threw away. This garden doesn't shine from electricity. It glows from intention. Each bottle, carefully coated in glow-in-the-dark paint, carries the subtle energy of someone who chose to create instead of consume. In one scene, green bottles are tucked neatly along a lavender-lined trail, forming a glowing border that gently outlines every step forward. The color isn't loud, it whispers. It invites. It calms. Elsewhere, taller bottles, arranged like sentinels on either side of a brick path, stand glowing in yellows, oranges, and aqua green. Their surfaces are etched or painted with simple shapes, spirals, flowers, rings, giving the effect of floating light. Like miniature lanterns, they hold the rhythm of fireflies frozen in place. And then there's the curve of a garden edge, where short bottles are laid sideways, half buried in gravel and earth. A low, neon green shimmer flows beside moss and flowering stalks. The light doesn't overpower the space, it outlines it. Like a quiet breath held between one bloom and the next. These are not just decorations. They are decisions. Proof that you don't need big tools or big budgets to create impact. To make this yourself, start with clean recycled bottles. Use glow paint on the inside or outside, then seal with a waterproof top coat. For best results, place them where they'll charge under daylight, even cloudy skies work fine. Dig shallow trenches and set each bottle snug, spaced evenly for a visual rhythm. This kind of work is less about perfection, more about presence. It's slow, steady beauty. The kind that meets you every evening, right where your garden path begins. So next time you walk outside and wonder what's missing, remember, maybe it's not more plants or more tools. Maybe it's just a few quiet lights and a bottle you didn't throw away. As the world quiets down and twilight paints the sky, the fence in your backyard can become more than just a boundary, it can glow like a living poem. In the first scene, old bottles, once destined for the trash, have found a new rhythm. Mounted gently atop tall bamboo stakes, each bottle is lit from within, casting soft hues of green and blue across a weathered wooden fence. The light isn't harsh. It breathes, like a slow pulse, offering serenity to anyone passing by. Below, potted marigolds and white daisies smile quietly, as if grateful to witness this gentle transformation. The second view brings us closer to the magic of texture and height. A simple trellis leans into its natural backdrop, holding glowing bottles suspended at different levels. The effect is ethereal. Purple and aqua lights glimmer behind climbing vines and jasmine, like whispers from a garden spirit. It's not just decoration, it's story and sanctuary. Then, in the final image, simplicity reigns. The bamboo fence stands proud, each post capped with a glowing bottle like lanterns for wandering dreams. The glow is warm, steady, and grounded, highlighting wildflowers that bloom along the fence line. It's rustic and heartfelt. A vision of what can be done with almost nothing. And here lies the soul of this DIY idea, not in complexity, but in intention. Use what you have. Illuminate what you love. Recycled bottles, a bit of glow-in-the-dark paint, bamboo, and gentle hands. That's all you need. These are not just lights, they are invitations to slow down and feel. You don't need a big budget or a design degree, only a heart that sees beauty in the overlooked. Try this. Adapt it to your style. Paint patterns. Let the colors dance. Make it yours. Because sometimes, the smallest glow can light the deepest part of the garden. As twilight settles and the world begins to hush, there's a quiet kind of magic that takes over the garden. A moment when glass bottles, once destined for the bin, rise to a new purpose, glowing gently above patios and verandas, suspended like floating lanterns between wood and sky. In the first image, strings of bottles dangle from a pergola like a glass chandelier handmade by dusk itself. With teal and golden hues flickering softly from within, each bottle glows with humble pride, a whisper that creativity is never bought, only repurposed. A fire crackles beneath, not just warming the space, but echoing the flickers of memory these bottles now carry, once held celebrations, now illuminating reflection. The second frame takes us to a modest balcony, where a quiet dinner or evening tea becomes instantly more poetic. The bottles here are suspended with twine, paired thoughtfully with potted herbs and candle lanterns, a scene not from a luxury resort, but from an everyday home that chose wonder over waste. Look closer, and you'll see how shadows play on walls, shaped by the irregular glass of reused materials, each one telling a slightly different story. Then, there's the final image, a narrow garden patio, softened by vines and flanked by a swinging hammock. On the plain cement wall, bottles gleam in green, cobalt, and turquoise, a constellation made not of stars, but scraps. Tied from hooks and lit from within, they offer a subtle reminder: comfort doesn't always require construction. Sometimes, it's just about rearranging what's already there, and letting it shine. If you ever doubted that trash could speak beauty, let this be your answer. You don't need a large backyard, expensive tools, or even much skill. Just the willingness to see value in what others overlook. Because sometimes, the most peaceful spaces aren't designed, they're rescued. And with a few glowing bottles, a quiet night, and a bit of heart, you can turn any corner of your world into something softly unforgettable. In the quiet hours of dusk, when the sun slips behind the trees and the sky softens into shadow, some gardens begin to breathe a little magic. Tucked beneath the low branches of a small tree, a curious gathering takes place. Glowing mushrooms rise gently from the soil, their soft caps made from humble plastic bottles turned upside down, their stems wrapped with rope or painted to mimic woodland stalks. These aren't store-bought ornaments. They're born from hands that believe in transformation, in turning throwaways into charm. In one corner, the neon green and bubblegum pink glow like whispers from a child's dream. They peek from behind ivy and along stone pavers, as if part of an enchanted path that leads nowhere, and everywhere. The colors pulse gently in the twilight, pulling the eye and the imagination. Closer to the flower beds, marigolds sway beside softly glowing caps in amber and forest green. Scattered mulch and flickering fireflies add depth to the scene, creating a natural dance of movement and light. Each mushroom holds its own presence, playful, surreal, and welcoming. The simplicity of their structure belies the wonder they bring. And here's the beauty: these can be yours. You don't need a workshop or fancy tools. Just a few used bottles, a sense of play, and your own garden dreams. Wrap the stems with jute or sisal for a rustic look. Use glow-in-the-dark paint or drop-in battery-powered LEDs to make them come alive at night. Choose colors that reflect your mood, or your memories. Maybe one bottle reminds you of a festival. Another, of your grandmother's garden. This isn't just decoration. It's storytelling in silence. It's your personal glow, nestled in the earth. So next time your hand reaches for the recycling bin, pause. Imagine what that bottle could become. Maybe it's the beginning of a quiet wonderland. Maybe it's your own tiny bit of magic. twilight falls, and the garden begins to whisper. Even the simplest of materials can bring magic to life. In this gentle hush of dusk, reclaimed wood posts stand quietly along a gravel path, each crowned with a bottle cap turned lantern top, glowing faintly in greens and blues, like fireflies that forgot to fly. These aren't store-bought installations. They're pieces of your story, made from what was once tossed aside. Old bottles painted with glow-in-the-dark pigments become luminous domes, perched on handcrafted posts wrapped in jute rope. Beneath them, flickering lanterns dangle, casting warm amber light onto lavender pots and wildflower beds, creating a scene that feels both humble and enchanted. Want to bring this look to life? Use reclaimed wooden stakes or posts. Make sure they're sturdy enough to stand tall. Drill a hook for hanging a tea light lantern, and for the top, just an old bottle cap, painted inside with glow paint, or fitted with a solar LED puck, becomes the crowning jewel. For added texture, wrap the midsection with rope or twine to soften the edges and match the rustic garden theme. Whether lining a wildflower path or tucked into a quiet corner patio, these lantern totems turn darkness into a welcome presence. They are not just decorations, but invitations to pause, to breathe, to marvel at how light and imagination can transform even the forgotten. Let this be a reminder. You don't need perfect tools or fancy gear. You only need a bit of heart, a bottle you almost threw away, and the will to light up someone's night, maybe even your own. There's a quiet kind of wonder that only appears after dusk. When the sun has said its goodbyes, and the garden begins to whisper. In this tranquil moment, something unexpected catches the eye. Not lilies or dragonflies, but glowing totems, made from what many discard. Bottles, once forgotten, now gleam like firefly lanterns, half buried in soil, reflecting across a sleeping pond. This isn't a luxury project. It's simplicity reimagined. To recreate this effect in your own backyard, start with any clear plastic or glass bottles. Paint them with glow-in-the-dark pigment, layer it patiently, and don't rush the drying process. Once charged by sunlight, they'll radiate all night long. Tilt them slightly into the soil along the pond's edge, neck down, like little lanterns watching over water. Mix colors: soft neon green, moody violet, ocean blue. Let nature blend the palette with its own reflections. Add smooth stones in between, and you've created a glowing necklace for your pond. What makes this special isn't just the light, but the contrast. Between the man-made and the natural. Between trash and treasure. Between the stillness of lily pads and the subtle glow of upcycled hope. Even better, the materials are free. Reclaimed, reloved, reborn under moonlight. And when you stand there quietly, just for a moment, you'll realize this is not just decoration. It's meditation in a bottle. A humble reminder that beauty often hides where we least expect it. And with a little imagination, even waste can whisper magic. There's a quiet kind of magic in repurposing what others throw away. And sometimes, all it takes is a blank fence or a forgotten wall to spark something breathtaking. In this peaceful corner of the garden, every bottle tells a new story, reborn not as waste, but as color and light. With just a few screws, a bit of creativity, and glow-in-the-dark paint, discarded glass becomes an illuminated mural. One that changes mood with the sky, faintly shimmering during the day, glowing softly by twilight, and then radiating like fireflies once the night falls. Bottle caps and bases become petals in a glowing flower. Whole bottles form glowing rainbows, strung like jewels across fences. A sunburst made from beer bottles steals the spotlight, dancing above succulents that thrive beneath its glow. This is a kind of art that doesn't demand space or budget, it only asks for heart and imagination. And maybe a willingness to see beauty where others don't. If your fence feels bare, your shed forgotten, or your patio wall uninspired, this might be the transformation it's been waiting for. Repetition is the rhythm. Symmetry brings harmony. And glow? That's the soul. You don't need a garden to create magic. Just a few bottles, a brush, and the courage to light up your own corner of the world. There's something poetic about how light plays with glass in the stillness of evening. In the quiet corner of a modest backyard, old bottles once destined for the bin now become vessels of wonder. Hung gently across weathered wooden fences, they cradle tiny fairy lights, casting soft amber, rose, and lavender glows like constellations stitched across planks of memory. What once held soda or syrup now holds warmth, both literal and emotional. This is not just about lighting a space, it's about softening it. Transforming the sharp silence of night into a gentle whisper. It's about creating moments. For solitude. For conversation. For reflection. If you look closely, you'll see the magic is in the imperfection. Bottles don't need to match. Paint flecks and shape differences only add character. Use string lights you already have. Tuck a solar fairy strand inside each bottle. Mount them with zip ties, or hang them loosely on wire. Let the layout curve naturally, just like a firefly's flight. The beauty of this idea is how forgiving it is. Even if you've never touched a power drill, or you only have a few minutes after sunset, you can bring this to life. And the effect? Pure serenity. This fence no longer just separates. It connects. It becomes the backdrop of stories, late-night talks, or quiet garden strolls under starlight. So next time you hold an empty bottle in your hand, ask yourself, not, is this waste, but, what moment can I light up with this? In a quiet corner of the garden, where time seems to hum softly like a lullaby, the edges of flower beds whisper their own poetry, composed not of stone or brick, but of discarded bottles given a second chance to shine. These glowing vessels don't just outline the soil, they crown it, embrace it, and illuminate it. Each bottle, once tossed and forgotten, now stands proudly like a sentinel of light. Some are buried upside down, glowing like fireflies nestled into the earth. Others rise tall and upright, painted with glow-in-the-dark hues that dance between aqua, neon pink, and electric blue. Their soft radiance carries through the dusk, making even the shadows feel warm. What's extraordinary here isn't just the beauty, it's the balance. Between wild flowers like cosmos, daisies, and sweet alyssum, the glowing bottles provide structure without stealing the scene. Their presence is gentle, guiding the eye, honoring the blooms rather than overpowering them. You don't need perfection to recreate this. Just bottles, mismatched, maybe a little cloudy. Wash them, paint them with glow pigment or slip in fairy lights. Plant them into soft soil or stone chips around your flower beds. That's all. No complex tools. Just your hands, your vision, and a dusk that's waiting to be gently lit. Even the mulch seems richer under this ambient glow. The garden becomes something more, not just a space for plants to grow, but for spirits to settle and hearts to rest. A place to feel peace, crafted by your own two hands from what once was trash. This, dear viewer, is not just art. It's redemption in glass. And under the evening sky, it glows with quiet pride. In the hush of twilight, when the world begins to soften, there's a place where light and stillness dance. A corner of the garden, quiet, deliberate, unhurried, comes alive not with sound, but with gentle glow. Bottles that once held nothing more than yesterday's drinks now stand like sentinels along a stone path, glowing in soft blues and greens, as if whispering stories only night can hear. This isn't just a Japanese-inspired Zen garden. It's a lesson in slowing down. In noticing the way gravel curves, the way bamboo fences catch the golden light, and how even a single glowing bottle can shift the mood of an entire space. If you've ever felt your outdoor space needed peace more than perfection, start here. Save your bottles. Add a dash of glow paint, a string of fairy lights inside, and give them purpose again. Place them along your path, around a bonsai, near water. Let them mark a journey. Not just through the garden, but toward calm. Because beauty isn't always loud. Sometimes, it glows in silence. As twilight settles and the garden begins to hush, a gentle breeze awakens the unexpected, bottle wind spinners that glow like enchanted blossoms under a star-kissed sky. Made from discarded plastic bottles, each spinner dances freely, catching both the wind and the imagination. It's a simple magic, really. Cut carefully, painted with glow-in-the-dark pigment, and placed on slender rods, they twirl with childlike wonder among vibrant blooms. Some mimic pinwheels, others unfold like petals mid-bloom. The effect? A living, moving light show woven into your flower bed. And the beauty is not just visual, it's emotional. These spinners bring a sense of nostalgia and playfulness, while reminding us that art can be born from what we once called trash. They're not only decorative, but a message, that joy can be spun from the ordinary. Try mixing colors, green, blue, soft orange, let them charge in daylight, and let the wind do the rest. Surround them with flowers that sway, and suddenly your evening walk feels like stepping into a fairy tale. This is more than garden decor. It's poetry in motion, powered by the wind, and your own hands. As twilight settles, something magical stirs beneath your feet. This isn't just a path, it's a river of light, crafted from forgotten bottles and humble garden stones, glowing quietly with every step you take. What once lay broken in a recycling bin now sings under the stars. Bottle shards, carefully crushed and painted with glow pigments, are nested between smooth resin pebbles, sealed in love and creativity. They don't just border your garden, they invite it to dance after dark. In these moments, your garden becomes more than space, it becomes memory. The soft shimmer from the edges of this walkway doesn't shout, it hums. It guides. It breathes calm into the evening air. Ferns rustle gently, lantern-shaped blooms whisper beside you, and the warm light trails like breadcrumbs for the soul. What makes this DIY possible, and magical, is its simplicity. Use old bottles of varying hues, green, brown, clear. Crush them safely or tumble for softer edges. Glow paint does wonders, but if you want longevity, try glow-in-the-dark glass fragments or pebbles often used in aquarium or resin art. Pair them with 2-part resin or concrete grout to lock them into curves or flowing lines. And when you pour with intention, not just to fill a space, but to shape a journey. For edging, small river stones work beautifully to hold everything in place. Arrange them loosely to let the light bounce gently between shadows and stone. Let the border meander like a forgotten forest path, because not all paths need to be straight. Some are more beautiful when they wander. Each flicker beneath your feet reminds us, trash, when met with intention, becomes treasure. And every bottle tossed aside can be transformed into a trail of wonder. This path doesn't just glow, it tells your story. In the quiet hush of twilight, when shadows stretch and the sky holds its final warmth, a simple tree becomes something ethereal. Not because of its age or height, but because of what surrounds it. Here, discarded bottles have been reborn into a glowing halo. With just a bit of glow-in-the-dark paint, some patience, and a bit of garden soul, they've become gentle sentinels circling the roots. Each bottle, upside down and half sunk into the soil, seems to hum with soft purpose. Greens, blues, and the occasional dreamy violet catch the early evening light, like fireflies frozen in their dance. You don't need much to recreate this wonder. Choose your bottles, plastic or glass, both work. Coat their interiors or exteriors with non-toxic glow paint, ideally one that recharges with daylight. Let them dry completely before placing them evenly around your tree base. Nestled in mulch or among stone, they serve as both boundary and beacon. Inside the circle? Let nature take its turn. Pansies, thyme, or wild violets thrive with minimal care and add their own softness to the glowing spectacle. And if you're working with a mature tree, try using only the bottle bottoms, cut cleanly and safely, then arranged in stacked layers to mimic firefly rings around the bark. The effect at dusk is magical, like a secret only your backyard knows. Beyond beauty, this project whispers a lesson. What we throw away isn't always waste, it can glow again, with just a touch of thought and care. This is more than garden decor. It's renewal. It's peace. It's a reminder that something broken can still bring light.